Sometimes when life gets really hectic, it's just so nice to come outside and take a look at some trees and the pond and just relax. I honestly don't feel like I get out here often enough. On this day, we were getting ready for a storm, so it was still lovely. In the mornings, what I typically do is get up, make Roger's breakfast. I make his lunch. He doesn't eat breakfast. It's too early, but usually we're up around 4-ish, and I'll make his lunch and then see him off to work. And if I'm feeling super productive, which doesn't happen often enough, I'll start washing the dishes and cleaning up the kitchen and getting all of my chores for the day done first thing in the morning. It's usually the best time to get everything done because then I don't feel rushed for the rest of the day. But most of the time I will go back to bed for a little bit and put off my chores until later because let's be honest, life is, well, it happens. And as I get older, the more I want to pay attention to how I feel and not feel like I have to compete with social media's constructs of what they think is productivity. Sometimes being productive is simply allowing yourself some grace and some peace to just relax and pay attention to what your body is saying. Not everything needs to be a competition. But on this morning, I was feeling rather productive, so I did get my kitchen cleaned up and got things wiped down, which is always kind of a challenge when we have 4 cats that love to get up on the counter. So the cup I filled with water is actually the cup that Luna drinks out of. The triplets like to drink out of running water, so they always want a tap left on for them somewhere. At a trickle, because obviously they don't want to waterboard themselves, but Luna likes to drink out of a cup and not a bowl. So there's that. So that's her water cup. And then you see the flowers I was able to pick the other day. They're so pretty. They just grow up out of the grass. I love having flowers in a vase, but I don't necessarily like buying flowers. I'm kind of speed cleaning. I sped this part up here as me just cleaning off the stove because it's kind of boring. But having a white stove or white appliances for me is always a challenge because everything always looks, I don't know, dusty, furry. I don't know. It just always looks like it never stays clean. So I spend a good portion of my day, every day, even on breaks and such, if I make myself something to snack on or a lunch, wiping down my counters and wiping down the stove. It's just my ongoing battle, but it's okay. On today's agenda, aside from work, I need to get this blanket done that I keep telling myself I need to get finished because I'm crocheting a baby blanket for a very good friend of mine. She's essentially my adopted daughter, to be honest with you. We met at work when I first moved to Oklahoma. I worked at Tinker Air Force Base in their medical records department as a release of information specialist, because that's what I went to school for. Well, actually I went to school for medical coding, but I digress. So I ended up in release of information, and pretty much that's it. And anyway, so she and I met, and she was, I believe, 18 when I met her. And in the time that I have known her, she is amazing. She's so sweet. Probably one of the kindest, most beautiful people you'll ever meet. She's physically beautiful. I mean, she's gorgeous, stunning girl, but she's not pretentious. She's not stuck up. She's not snotty. She's just amazing. She's such a lovely human. And she lost her mother while she was still at basic. And then shortly after she got married, she lost her grandmother. So the two most important women in her life are not there. And I'm not trying to replace them, but I love her to pieces, and I love her little family, and she is pregnant with her second. So the whole point of this is that I'm making this baby blanket for someone that is very important to me and very special to me. And it's been amazing to watch her go from kind of an awkward teenager airman to the staff sergeant that she became before she left the military, to getting married and having children. So I've been super blessed to have her in my life and to get to be a part of that in some small way. Of course, now I live like almost an hour away, so I don't get to see her or her daughter like ever. And so the baby shower is this weekend, and I'm super excited to get to go and visit and see her. And we keep in touch. We chat through message, like we text back and forth. Why words are so difficult in the morning is beyond me. We text back and forth a lot, and I'm always excited when she sends me new pictures of the baby or her little girl who was the baby. And I was super blessed because for several months I actually got to come over in the mornings and watch their eldest as an infant, and those were like the best days ever, getting to sit there and watch the baby. And now she's having her little boy. So she had a daughter first, now she's having her little boy, and so I'm making a blanket, and I need to get this done, so that's what I'm doing, and not taking a nap. Because we get up at like 4 and I make Roger's lunch. I think I've done videos before where I show making his lunch first thing in the morning. He has to be at work at 6, and I don't have to be at work till 9. But and sometimes I take naps, sometimes I don't. It just kind of depends on what feels like is going to happen during the day. But this is the base of the baby blanket, and I've been putting the little edge on so that I can connect them. And I'm just going to do a continuous connect to get them all linked together. But she decided to do the baby's room in green, which is super exciting because everyone always does blue. But as someone who's also getting ready to do their whole house in shades of like green and orange and cream and whatnot, I was super jazzed by the colors. And originally I was going to make a blue baby blanket, and my husband was like, isn't she doing the baby's room in green? And I was like, yes. So then we had to go get yarn. So that's his fault. But now I'm kind of behind the curve. So, and I'm trying to keep it as cat hair free as possible, which is freaking almost impossible. Luckily, she knows, she understands, and she gets it, and bless her, she loves me anyway. But I've been trying to like remember to like weave in my ends and trim them as I go. But, and I hadn't thought about this before. I should have just done like a big granny blanket, but I didn't. And I had this yarn first. I found it, I dug it out of one of my yarn stashes. I had this color first. So I was like, oh, this is cool. I'll just make a bunch of squares and then blah, 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 blah. And then that turned into this. I got yarn to match, or coordinate, I should say. But granny squares are not great for weaving in ends, to be honest. I think if you do more than just one row of a color, maybe. Like this, obviously the center was easier to weave in the ends for, but the rest has been kind of a pain in the patootie. So that's what I'm gonna work on for the rest of the morning until I have to start work. Last night it stormed horribly here, which is great for the pond because we had like a beachy area to the pond, and I'll include some video of the pond. Last time I walked around it, and there was like some beach area. We call it the beach, it's not a beach. But apparently that is all very, very full of water now. Pardon. And then, I don't know if I've ever mentioned, but I'm actually allergic to cats, so of course we have 4. Let's see. So, give me a second and I'll get you guys set up so you can watch me crochet for a bit if you'd like. I find it relaxing. I love to crochet. It's one of my favorite pastimes. Just to chillax. And I'm not a big counter, which is the other reason why I love granny squares, is because you don't really have to count them. And sometimes I mess up, but usually I'm just fine. But I love the fact that I don't have to count them. And there's something that crocheting is one of those things that I can do without my glasses on, because staring at a screen all day is really kind of mess with my eyes. And so I actually have 2 pairs of glasses. I don't even know why I'm sharing all this. You probably don't even care. But anyhow, I have these ones, which are trifocals, which I hate. And then I have these ones, which are my old glasses that do not have trifocals. They're just my prescription for like distance. And so these ones, the distance ones that are not trifocals, I actually wear for work, because with the trifocals, I was giving myself migraines, because when you're working, there's a constant looking up and down at the screen and stuff. And I don't think when they made my trifocals, I don't think they're set right or something, because they're fine if we're out and about, like grocery shopping and stuff, but like to stare at my computer, it was really, really hurting my eyes, and it was making me very, very tired. And then I was getting super bad headaches, super bad. And I'm one of those people, like if I don't pay attention to my body, I get a really bad headache, and then I get a migraine. Well, my version of a migraine. It's just a really bad headache. I know some people get like debilitating migraines. I don't get those. Instead, I have silent migraines, so I just pass out, which is really awesome when you're in public. So I try really hard to stay hydrated, and I try really hard to not overtax my eyes or give myself headaches at all, so that I can avoid the potential of passing out. So yeah, silent migraines sound awesome because you don't get the same kind of pain. Like some people get so sick that they can't have any light, they start to vomit or whatever. I mean, it's excruciating. Mine not like that. I just get a really, really bad headache, and then I wake up and everybody's asking me how I'm doing. So yeah, I try to avoid that. So, all right, let's crochet. So I really did edit the crochet section here, because honestly, crocheting for me is enjoyable and it's relaxing, it's lovely. Watching me crochet is like watching paint dry, to be honest with you. And I'm actually a pretty fast crocheter normally, but I don't know. I think setting up the camera to watch me crochet was painful. But anyhow, so just a basic, I don't even know what stitch this is. Single stitch? I don't know. Single crochet? I can't remember. I don't actually know all my stitches by name. I just do them. So pretty much that's how that went. I ended up doing just 9 of the big squares, and then I put some border around it after I got everything connected. And I had never done this kind of connection before with crocheting granny squares, or like connecting granny squares. Normally I would just sew them together, but I think I mentioned I couldn't find my crochet needle, or not my crochet needle, my yarn needle. Good Lord. And anyway, so I found a pattern that I could do pretty simply online, and was like, oh, then I'll just do this. And it's essentially a zigzag, like a braided zigzag, I think is what it was called. And it came out really pretty, and I was really pleased with it. But it did take my brain some time to get used to actually doing it. So once everything was done, I thought it came out rather lovely. That dark color, I should have explained, is actually like almost a really dark olivey, foresty green color, which I thought really looked lovely. And here we are back at the pond, and I think in this section here you can actually see the beachy area, or whatever we call it. That is all underwater at this point. So where that log was, and then see the little beachy area here. We have clamshells and stuff in the pond, which is kind of lovely. We did have a family of geese that were living at the pond, and I'm going this direction because I'm looking to see if my roses are still bloomed. That's the trash can that was here when we moved in. It's actually full of cement, and so the trash company won't pick it up. And it was never our trash can to start with. But anywho, that's where it lives now. But as you can see, sad face, all of my roses have gone. Very sad. But the pond still looks lovely. And here's another view of the trash can that has cement in it. That's all the junk that was piled in this massive heap where we ended up putting the storage container. I need to get a dumpster, but dumpsters are extremely expensive and I just can't afford to do that right now. So it's actually piled up behind our wannabe garage thing. But look how lovely the pond is. I love the pond. It was pretty much the selling point for me with the house, because it definitely was not the house that sold me on the property and everything, but the pond is rather lovely. We have fish and turtles and frogs and newts and skinks, and yes, we have snakes, but I don't mind snakes. So I just think it's so pretty, and I love just being out here. And I was going to leave the nature, like the noise from the outside, on the video, but you can hear my feet crunching in the grass and it was really annoying. So here we are. I had come over this way because I'd heard something plop back into the water, and unfortunately it vanished, and so I wasn't able to see it, and I was very sad. But yep, that's our little pond. It's actually ginormous. And then over here we're gonna take another walk. I think I go over to the little willow tree that Roger planted for me. That, I believe, is a volunteer maple. Probably not the best spot for it, but that's where it landed and that's where it stayed. There's just something so relaxing about being back here. Oh, there's my little willow tree Roger planted for me. Because it's been so windy, he's pretty much getting all of his branches on one side, which is kind of frustrating, but there's really not a whole lot I can do about Oklahoma and its wind. Thank you guys so much for spending the morning with me, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, bye y'all.